Hello, friends. Welcome back to the Say What podcast. I am so happy to be sitting here chatting with you today. If we're being honest, this is round 2 of this episode because I tried to record this earlier in the week and I was out here trying to give tips and tricks like I knew what I was talking about. And it just did not feel authentic. It did not feel honest. I was like, I wasn't lying. I was just like talking about what I wish I was doing and wish things were going rather than what felt like the truth was, but I wasn't lying. I don't know. It's just, we're trying this again. We are trying this again. This episode is going to be significantly better because I am not going to put out any content that is not authentic. I just refuse to lie about who I am on the internet. I don't use filters on my Instagram stories. Like, I am just trying to be, an authentic queen. I cannot put things out that are not real. So we're trying this again, and I'm feeling significantly better. I sat on this topic of saying no to sex the rest, 3 or 4 more days. I sat on it. I thought about more. I marinated. I prayed about it, and I was like, okay, we've got it now. We have got it, and we know what we should talk about. So we are talking about saying no to sex today. We're going to be talking about some sex drive stuff. We're going to be talking about sexual desire, all that fun stuff. But I like to start off the episodes with just like some little chit chat, some just girl talk. And the girl talk that we have today is not very fun. Got to be so honest with you, because the FDA is out here trying to ruin lives. I have been sharing on my Instagram story about how the FDA is now requiring prescriptions for dilators. And that is driving me absolutely insane. I want to scream. I do want to be clear that this FDA requiring prescriptions for dilators is just for vaginal dilators that are compliant with the FDA. There are a lot of dilators out there that have not taken the step to be compliant with the FDA, and so those do not require a prescription. But the really, really high quality dilators that I always recommend to you guys, the Intimate Rose ones, because I love them. I think they're such good quality vaginal dilators, such good quality wands. Now, this does not have anything to do with wands, so you can still buy the wand, but the really high quality dilators, you now have to have a prescription. So Intimate Rose came out talking about this. They are trying to figure out a way around it for their pelvic floor physical therapists to be able to have some of their dilators in their offices, so that way they can just buy them from the physical therapist, and then you won't have to have a prescription that way. But that still doesn't help just the average consumer, the average Say What listener who just wants to get on her dilator grind, and she can't because she doesn't have a prescription. And this is just so frustrating in so many ways. It feels like we're taking a step back in, trying to improve the women's health. It just feels like we're taking 15 steps back. It constantly feels like we're just taking steps back in women's health care. Sometimes I think we're really improving and we're really getting out there, how important women's health is and access to healthcare. And sometimes it just feels like we're taking a million steps back. Requiring a prescription just put so many barriers in place for women who don't have access to a doctor, because some people really can't go to the doctor. Going to the doctor is expensive. Some people can't afford it. Some people don't have access to it. And then once you actually get to the doctor, it may take 5 doctors to actually diagnose you with something that would require a dilator. It did not take me just one time going to the doctor and being like, I'm having painful sex, for them to be like, oh, you have vaginismus. It took 5 doctors to diagnose me with textbook vaginismus. I literally had, if you look in the textbooks what vaginismus is, my body was exactly that, and it still took 5 doctors to diagnose me. And so it's not like you can just go to the doctor and get a diagnosis that easy. It still takes time for practitioners to actually understand what's going on in women's bodies, which is so ridiculous. I'm not a doctor, but it's just so frustrating that it's, not easy to get a diagnosis. And so it's like, once you actually go to the doctor, they'll either tell you to drink wine, or they'll tell you that you're not attractive enough to your husband, or they'll tell you that you just need to have more foreplay, or you need to use more lube. And they don't actually give you tools to help, because a lot of times doctors will just tell you to drink wine, and drinking wine is not a way to heal your body. Alcohol is not a healing method, is not a healing tool. If anything, it can make things worse. So ridiculous that doctors will tell you to drink alcohol. So many problems. There's so many problems with that. But alcohol is literally not a healing tool. It's not a healing method. It is not something that is going to solve your problem. But they'll tell you to drink wine. And so once you actually get to the doctor, it's not helpful. And then some people, like I said, don't have access to a doctor. Some people don't have access to pelvic floor physical therapy. Some people live in a rural area where there's no pelvic floor physical therapists around them. Some people can't afford to go to pelvic floor physical therapy. And so dilators are your way of healing. So like if you're in that place, and also there's all those kind of barriers, but there's also just like the mental barrier of actually getting help in this area, because there's so much shame around women's bodies. Women just feel so much shame. The messages of purity culture, the messages of society, and have just like imprinted it on us for so long. And so we have a lot of shame when it comes to getting help for our bodies. I used to use the analogy like pelvic floor physical therapy is like if you broke your arm, you'd go to therapy for that. Now I could use the analogy of it's just like if you broke your leg. If you broke your leg, you'd go to physical therapy for that, because that is literally what I'm doing. Do I feel any shame about going to physical therapy for helping my broken leg? Absolutely not. So why should I feel shame about going to pelvic floor physical therapy to help with my broken vagina? I should not feel shame, yet I do. It was such a shameful thing. And so I just think that like if women can't get to that place, but maybe they'll get to the step of like, okay, I'll try dilators. That can be the thing that can help me. And then women would start seeing healing happen by using dilators, and then maybe would get the courage to go to the doctor or go to pelvic floor physical therapy. But they can't even do that because they'd have to have a prescription first. So there's just so many barriers that are already in place. And so it's really unfortunate that this happened. I am going to link in the episode notes some dilators that are not requiring a prescription if you would like to get those. My still like encouragement is always going to be, and my recommendation is always going to be the Intimate Rose dilators. I think they are top quality. They have gone through the rigorous testing to become compliant with the FDA. Like they've taken that step. And so I think that is a really great thing that they've done. It kind of sets them apart from other companies. But it just is now frustrating that this barrier is in place. And so I'm going to link both of the dilators in the episode notes, the Intimate Rose ones and the compliant ones. The very first dilators that I used at my healing journey were not compliant with the FDA. But now that I have actually had the Intimate Rose dilators, the difference in quality is huge. Like the Intimate Rose ones are just significantly better. The quality is significantly better. You can really tell a difference. And so I wish I had a better answer for you. I'm keeping up with what's going on. I love Intimate Rose. They've been so helpful in providing me with this information, and I'm not even a pelvic floor physical therapist. And so I'm really grateful that they're still providing this information to me so I can help you guys out. But just frustrating. Feels like we're taking steps back. So that's the non-fun update. But the other fun update is that my leg is doing better. I'm walking normal. My friend Caroline told me that I was walking normal into her house this week, and I was like, hallelujah, taking steps towards healing. It's still happening. I'm walking more. I'm out of my boot. I'm feeling better. I still cannot believe I broke my leg 3 months ago. I know you guys are tired of hearing about my broken leg, but it completely changed my life in every single way. And so it's really hard to not speak about it. Another fun update is that my church is doing a series on sex, and they're actually doing such a good job. I love the church that we go to. I did not think that they wouldn't do a good job, but when you're talking about sex, it's real easy to get into the purity culture line, and my church did not do that, and I was so encouraged by that. They addressed abuse, and they talked about saying the correct genitalia, and they talked about talking to people about sex and actually having conversations about it. They talked about how our bodies were made in God's image and to view sex through that lens, and it was just an incredible message, and I was just so encouraged by it. So I want to share that. Churches are doing good things, and that is super exciting. Okay, let's just go ahead and get into today's topic. I'm really eager to talk about it. I'm really excited to talk about it. This is an episode that when I was writing out my episodes that I wanted to do when I was relaunching the podcast, I had this kind of lower on the list. And then when I was thinking about episodes to record and looking like planning out on my content, I was like, you know what? This is an area that I am actively working on, like actively struggling with. And I should just like share this with other people so they know they're not alone. I really like to, in my episodes, give like tips and tricks, encouragement, here's things you can do to make things better. And so I think that's why I put this lower on the list, because I was like, okay, by, in like 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks, I will have answers for them. I'll tell them what to do. I'll, have your 1, 2, 3, and this is what you do to help you have stronger sexual desire. And I don't have all the answers. And so I just figured instead of trying to wait until I had the answers that I should just be sharing with you guys from a vulnerable place. I should talk about what I'm struggling with and the couple things that have helped me and just really share that, so you know that you're not alone. I will have some advice in here because I love giving advice. And I have found some things that have helped me, but I decided to just not wait until I quote, have it all together because that's just not who I am. That's not who I am in my soul, my spirit. I'm not a person who acts like they have it all together. I'm honest to a fault. I overshare to a fault. Sometimes I get lots of anxiety. Not anxiety, because I don't share things that I don't feel like the Lord wants me to share, but I guess I do sometimes get lots of anxiety about did I just overshare about that? Should I have not put that on the internet? Should I have not done that? But I'm listening to the Lord and he will convict me or tell me when I should stop sharing or when I should shut up or when I should continue to share things. So I feel like this episode is perfectly timely today. So we are talking about saying no to sex. And I asked you guys what your experience with this was like because I feel like the last year of my life, which is the last year of me my son is 14 months old. And so this last year has basically been the first year of his life. I feel like I have gotten in my own way so many times when it comes to being intimate with my husband. And when I'm talking about sex, I'm talking about it from the big umbrella, not just intercourse, penis and vagina. I'm talking about it from the big umbrella, making out, hands, oral, all the things, just being physically intimate with my husband. I've gotten in my way so much. I've been saying no so many times. I've not even been initiating. It's not even Thomas is over here every minute of every day, please have sex with me. It's not even like that. It's just when he will kind of bring it up or when he'll flirt with me, I'm just ew, no, stop, don't do that. And I'm not even initiating at all. I felt like we had gotten in a groove and then we weren't in a groove and then we were in a groove and it was just fluctuating so much. And I just felt like I have been getting in my way so much. And so that's what I wanted to talk about today. So I asked you guys on Instagram. So I said, on Instagram, I said, do you ever feel like you get in your own way when being intimate with your partner? I noticed I was saying no so much, some for valid reasons and others not for valid reasons. And the times I actually did say yes, I was so thankful I did because it was so good for us to spend that time together. And I never regret it. Can you relate? And so I got lots of responses. I said, so I'm going to read some of them. Yes, all the time. Yes, crying face. Yes, so often. Absolutely, I relate. Yes, especially when I can't orgasm. Someone said, my baby turns 1 next month and has slept through the night less than 15 times in her life. We're in a slump, but sleep is a priority. I appreciate the closeness, but then I'm anxious because of the late bedtime. I'm pretty sure I could have written this myself. I love how she said less than 15 times. I don't know that Tate has slept through the night more than 5 times. So definitely can relate to that. Someone said, I've had to learn the difference between actively not wanting sex versus just being preoccupied. One is fine to push through. One is I need to honor and listen to my body. When I saw that, I was like, yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about today. That's exactly what this episode is going to be about. So I was so encouraged to see that because I'm like, yes, there is a difference between listening to your body, honoring your body, and saying no just because we're busy with other things or saying no or not having sex because we're just preoccupied. That is exactly what I'm talking about today. So I was so excited to see that response. Somebody else said yes. Someone said, yes, I relate to this so much. We're trying for a baby, which means the last 2 months I've been saying yes more and it's been so great. I feel so close to my husband. And they also said, I completely relate about having good reasons for saying no, but really enjoying the yeses. I can relate to this so much because something that I was not prepared for, something that I don't know that anyone ever talked about, or maybe they did and I just wasn't in those circles, is when you're trying for a baby, the amount of sex that you have to have for that is insane. Now, there's only a certain amount of days you can get pregnant in a month, but I'm over here knowing all of that, knowing how to get pregnant. I know how this works, but I'm over here we got to have sex every day. I want to get pregnant. We're going to have sex every day, which is not necessarily what you have to do, but that's just what I wanted to do because I was we are giving every opportunity that there has. I'm not missing it. I know when I'm ovulating, but I'm still just we're going to have sex every day. So we pretty much had sex every day for 4 months straight. And let me tell you, sometimes it was sweet, sometimes it was romantic, sometimes it was we had never been more in love. Other times, it was a business transaction. we were doing a business deal. It was in and out. It was fast as possible. It was, hey, how you doing? Let's get this on. I'm tired. I'm ready to go to bed. It was, how fast can we do this? Like, it was a business transaction. And I was just not prepared for that. Like, I was so excited about this time for us to like have sex and enjoy it. I knew it was going to bring us closer. I knew it was going to be so much fun. But I was not prepared for how tired I would be trying to have sex every day. It truly was exhausting. And it's so funny coming from me who had painful sex for like 2 years and now talking about how exhausting it was having sex. Like, Hanna in the depths of her vaginismus would have loved to have sex every day. But just reality is I was tired. Sometimes we would have, like I said, really sweet moments. And then other times it was just like, I got 5 minutes. Can we do this real quick? In and out. Done. Good. Got it. Business transaction. Done. Sealed. Delivered. But I was just not prepared for how tired I was going to be. But there are positives to that. And the positive was that we were having lots of fun together. It was very sweet. I felt like we were laughing more. I felt like we were happier. And it was just a really good time. And it was really great. So yeah. And then let's see, the last person said, or another response was, I have had a hard time asking for it because I feel like he should know when I want/need it because of my behavior. That is a real thing as well. But what I have had to learn is that our husbands are not mind readers. And while, yes, they should learn things about us, I've just found so much peace and joy in my life, in my marriage, when I just tell Thomas what I want. And I thought that would take away from like the sweetness of our relationship. I thought that would take away from like the surprises. I felt like that would mean that he wasn't intentional. But I just started telling Thomas what I wanted, and that way I wasn't let down, or that way like the unspoken expectation wasn't, gonna cause us problems because I didn't say what I wanted, but I was really sad. For example, I wanted Thomas to write a card from Tate to me for Valentine's Day or for Christmas or whatever. And I was like, I want a card from Tate. And, part of me was like, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to hope that he does it because I give him cards from Tate. So hopefully he'll give me a card from Tate. And then I was like, you know what? I don't want to be let down. I don't want to be let down. So I'm just going to tell him. And when he actually got me the card from Tate, it was just as special as I wanted it to be. I didn't feel like I was like, he's only doing this because I asked. Like, he made it special and it was fun. And I was really happy that I just like communicated what I wanted. That's a whole other topic. But anyways, what we're talking about today is saying no to sex. It seems like so many of us are on the same page where we're like, yeah, I feel like I get in my way. Yes, I'm just like saying no and I don't even really have a reason. Others are like, yeah, I have lots of valid reasons and I still hate it. So what I want to start with this conversation is talking about how sexual desire fluctuates so much. So when I was growing up or like taught about sex, I wasn't taught about sex. When I was growing up and was like learning about sex, we were all told and just believed that men had this just like super high sex drive. Like, we just believed that that men had such a high sex drive and women never wanted to have sex. It was always believed that men want to have sex all the time and women just push through and have sex just because that's what we have to do. But if the woman does have a high sexual desire, then she's labeled as a slut, whore, whatever, which is just so ridiculous. Like, I just think those words like shouldn't even exist. But they were labeled as that. And so it was just like, men are this way, women are this way. And I just think that is so not true. Like, sure, sometimes in your relationship, or sure, sometimes in life, men do have a strong sexual desire and maybe women do not have a strong sexual desire. But I don't think that, and maybe there is like some biologicalness to that. I'm not a scientist, not a doctor. But I just don't think I just don't think that's true. I think what it comes down to is that women carry such a different load than men. Our bodies go through so much with periods every month, with like what happens in your body before your period comes, after your period comes. If you have kids, like pregnancy, postpartum, like women's bodies go through so much and we carry such a mental load with that as well of being a woman. And so I don't necessarily think that like women don't have a high sex drive. I also think that we're told our whole lives that we aren't supposed to want to have sex, because if we are wanting sex, then that labels us as something. And so over the years, constantly being told that we shouldn't want to have sex, our bodies start responding to that. And we're like, okay, we don't want to have sex because we're always told that we don't want to have sex. And so I don't even necessarily think it's like men want to have sex and women don't. I just think it's a result of all these like messaging that we've been given, and we just start to believe that about ourselves. And so if we actually do have any kind of sexual desire, we feel a lot of shame about it and we don't want to talk about it. And so I'm wondering if like the studies that have been done, it's also not correct because women aren't being honest about it because we're afraid of what that makes us, you know? I just feel like there's so much just not realness in that. But then again, I do understand that there is some validity to that because there have been lots of time in our marriage where my husband will have the higher sex drive and I won't have a sex drive at all. So I just think that like the stereotype of like men always want to have sex and women don't is just like so just not true. But there always is some kind of truth to a stereotype. So maybe I shouldn't be saying it's not true. Maybe I should just be saying there's a lot of nuance to the conversation because I am someone who believes in so much nuance. I don't think things are as black and white as our world loves to make things out to be. Gosh, everything is you have to believe this or this, and if you don't believe this, then you're a terrible person. But anyways, that's a whole other conversation that we're not going to have. But there's just so much nuance to it. I just don't think it is as black and white as men want sex and women don't. And so just like sexual desire just changes so much. It fluctuates so much based on what season of life you're in or what stage of life you're in. Like I remember when Thomas and I were dating, we could not wait to have sex. Like it was just like, this is what we want. We know we want to get married. So waiting to have sex was so hard because we want to have sex. And we got so close to it so many times because we were like, this is what we want to do. It was just like all we could think about all the time. It was like, I looked at him, it was instantly turned on. Like it was just like one of those like experiences in life. And then we got married and it was like, the desire was definitely there still. But after time, it was like, we were having painful sex. So that was a little bit different story. But his desire dropped after we got married. And I do think a lot of that is because like, the desire to have sex when you're a Christian is often seen as the quote bad thing. And so, you're often tempted to do the bad thing. And so I think like once the, rules were gone, it didn't seem as appealing anymore. I think that had a lot to do with it. But I know that my desire was pretty high after we got married. And I was like, what is wrong with me? Like, I want to have sex so much. My husband does want to have sex. Even though it hurts, I still want to do it because XYZ. But there was a time when Thomas was struggling with watching porn. And so during that time, I was like, don't even look at me. Like, I can't have sex with you because I'm just comparing myself to all these women. And I just like have no desire. Like, I'm so just hurt by this. I think that porn is so not okay. And you can't ever convince me that it is. And I just like think it's so wrong. And so I'm feeling so hurt by this. And I don't want you to touch me. Like, don't even look at me. I just, no. And so I had like no desire to have sex at all and was saying no a lot. And I do think that that was a very, very valid reason. But all that to say, like with seasons of not wanting to have sex, it's like, okay, I'm pregnant and I am throwing up every day and it's miserable. We are not having sex. Okay, I'm postpartum and I'm holding a baby all the time who's attached to me. I'm breastfeeding. So I'm like, boobs used to be hot. Don't even look at them. Like, don't even touch them. They are off limits. I'm like, number one, I might start lactating if you touch them. And number two, just like there's someone who is on my boob all the time. I can't have you on my boob too. Like, we just cannot be doing that. And so, like, there's a big season of my life where it was like, absolutely not. You cannot touch me because I'm being touched all day. And I just, like, don't even know who I am in my own body. I'm going through an identity crisis. And so it's like, you just don't even touch me. Just, like, stay away. And I think that's also a very valid reason. But then there was a lot of times, the past probably couple of months, where I'm feeling better in my body. My leg is healing. I feel like myself again. I got on Zoloft, so I'm feeling a lot better mentally. And I'm just saying no or not initiating sex because I just like want to be on my phone. And that is so embarrassing to admit. Like, I cannot believe I just admitted that to you guys. I want to go crawl in a hole and die. But I was saying no because I'm just like, I just like kind of want to play this game on my phone. Like, also, guys, if you ever see me out here doing an ad for Best Fiends, you better know that that's like so real because I am obsessed with Best Fiends. And that is like so silly of me to admit. And I feel like kind of dumb. But like I used to hear different podcasters doing ads for Best Fiends. And I was just like, yeah, that's like so dumb. They're probably not playing that game. I am playing that game. I'm on level like 1,000 something, which is so just ridiculous. I bet you guys didn't know that about me, that I am a gamer on my phone. So if I'm out here doing a Best Fiends ad, it's real. I freaking love it. Anyways, I would just say no because I'm just like, I'm bored. I'm like tired. I've been a mom all day. I don't know how to be anything else. I just want to lay down. And, after saying no and also not initiating, I just felt like we just got in such a roommate's groove. We got in such a, like, we're just co-parenting mood. We got in such like a bickering mood. Like, he was annoying me. I was getting the ick, and I was just like, ugh, not liking this. Like, just feeling just like, ugh. And then I was realizing, I'm like, oh, we like haven't looked at each other and hugged each other, kissed each other, or acted like we're, married in can't tell you how long. And that is really affecting our relationship. Like, we're not having any physical intimacy at all. And that is really affecting our relationship. And so I told myself, or I was like, all right, Hannah, we're doing this. We got to rally a little bit. We got to rally a little bit because you love your husband and you love your marriage and you want to experience this closeness with your husband, and you're getting in your own way. It was very much like a conversation I had to have with myself of like, I'm getting in my own way of like this joy that I could have in my marriage, like this peace I could have in my marriage, this like fun, silly, like romantic moments I could have in my marriage. Like, I'm getting in my own way. Like, I'm choosing to just like watch TV or be on my phone or just like have, I'm choosing 5 extra minutes of sleep over my husband. And I think that sleep is very important. My child does not sleep for months and months and months and months and months. And during those months, we absolutely cannot have sex. But I do think there's a couple of times I could have sacrificed a couple minutes of sleep for the joy and closeness and connection with my husband. And what I think is very important to talk about when we're having this conversation is the difference between listening to your body and honoring your body and what your body needs versus saying no just because you're doing something else. When I'm having these conversations, I want you guys to understand the context here that I'm talking about saying no because you're just preoccupied or doing something else or just like not really having like a good enough reason to say no. We're just kind of like, no. Like, that's the person I'm talking to today. And I'm sharing that from my own experience, and I know that you guys have experienced it as well. And I don't want you guys to think that I'm out here saying like, ignore your body and telling what it needs, ignore like consent doesn't matter. Like, that is not what I am saying at all. That is not what I'm saying. I think that it is so important to honor your body. Like, I could not be doing anything physically intimate with Thomas until I think I was like 11 or 12 weeks postpartum. And even then it was just like, I just started having those thoughts that we should maybe do that. Like, I was not. When Tate was not sleeping and I was going through the most intense postpartum rage and was having postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety, like, my body could not even handle the thought of someone touching me. Like, I physically like cringed at it. And it's not because I'm not attracted to Thomas or he wasn't being a good partner. It really had nothing to do with like him as a person. It was just like, I was not okay. I was not okay emotionally. I was not okay physically. I was going through, so much like mental stuff. And I was just like, and we were also in the middle of a move, and it was just not happening. And what I needed to do during that season was honor my body and honor what I needed. And at that time, I needed rest. I needed time to figure out who I am, get back to myself, like feel myself again. Just like, I needed to honor her in that season. And I feel like it was very valid for me to not initiate sex and very valid for me to not want to have sex. And I would talk to Thomas about it, and we would have conversations, and just talking about it, I think really helped us out in that season because we were communicating and there wasn't just like underlying like tension because we were talking about it, which I think is super important. And so what I just want to make that so clear is that like, I'm talking about saying no just because you're just like choosing your phone like I was when you're just like choosing best fiends over your husband. Like, that is so ridiculous. Like, I just cannot believe I would do that. And I did lots of times. And I'm sure you guys can like message me and be like, but Hannah, you're like tired and you're a mom, you're doing the best you can. Like, yeah. Like, I hear you, I get it. But there also is a reality here. Like, it's me. Hi, I'm the problem. And it's me. Yeah. Like, I had to admit that. Like, I was being the problem. I was getting in my own way. I was choosing things that don't matter over my spouse. And that is not fair to him. And thankfully, he is so sweet and kind and loving. And anytime we've talked about this, he's been like, babe, I love you. Like, what are you even talking about? Like, it's going to be okay. We're going to be okay. Like, we're trying to figure out how to do this parenting and, moving and broken leg and working and all the things. We're trying to figure out how to do all this stuff. It's going to be fine. But I was just coming up with every excuse after the other. And it just got us into this big like roommate phase. And so what I found that helps me was like, I was like, all right, Hannah, bootstraps, like we got to go. We got to rally. Like I was like, I know the times that we have spent being intimate, I never regret it. I don't miss the sleep. I don't miss my phone. I don't miss that TV show. Like, I am not wishing while we were having sex that I was watching that TV show. Like, I'm not wishing that I was doing the dishes. Like, I'm not wishing that I was, checking something off my to-do list. Like, when I'm in it and afterwards, I'm so thankful that I jumped over that mental battle of like not wanting to do it at that time. I'm so thankful that I just like chose to like be intimate with my spouse. I never regret that time. And so something I've been really trying to do is think like, okay, how can I get over that that struggle? Like, how can I just like take that step? And I just tell myself, I'm like, future Hannah, well, thank you so much. Remember how much you enjoy sex, because like post-baby sex has gotten so good. Like, it really has. Like, it really, really, really has. Like, I want to have a whole episode talking about that, so I'm not going to get into it now, but it has gotten so good. And I know that, like, the better sex has gotten, the more I want to have it. But it's just like like I said, this is not an episode where I'm like, here's all the answers, here's everything you need to do, here's how you should, like, do this and text more throughout the day and flirt more throughout the day and wear lingerie. Like, I'm not telling you all of that because that's not what I've been doing. Like, Thomas has been flirting with me as much as he always does. He's been touching me as much as he always does. We're going to record an episode together soon because it'll be our 5-year anniversary soon. And we are more obsessed with each other than we ever have been before. Like, we are so obsessed with each other. We love each other so much. We are so thankful that like every day we get to spend together, and thankful that our reality is that like he has a hybrid job, so we spend so many days together, and it's what we want. Like, we want to be with each other. It's not, I'm not like, oh, I can't wait to be apart from you. Now, we definitely have those days where I'm like, okay, bye, you and Tate, go. I need my time to myself. But for the most part, like, we want to be together all the time. And I'm so grateful that he's my best friend in the entire world. And so it's not like he wasn't, trying to have sex with me or wasn't touching me or anything like that. Like, I just needed to actually respond to those things and understand that I'm the problem. And also, it took some like reflection. I was like, is there a deeper issue going on here? Like, is there something more to this? And there just really wasn't. I was just being lazy. Like, it's truly what it was, like being lazy. And that is not the kind of energy I want to put into our marriage. Like, to make our marriage like work and good, like, I need to like, figure it out. I need to like rally a little bit. I need to like, and there's like some harmful conversations around rallying. People be like, okay, you got to rally and like, just push through and please your husband. I am not saying that. I am saying I just need to like rally myself because I know that our marriage will be better because of this. I will enjoy like, future Hannah will thank you that you did this. Like, it's not even out of like an obligatory thing either. It's always like, sometimes I just need that little push to get over that second of like, oh, I don't want to because I'm tired, to like, no, I really do actually enjoy this. Like, sometimes my mind was like lying to me. Like, I do enjoy this. I do want to do this. And it's a fun time. So I found that the more I started doing that and the more I was thinking like, okay, I've got time to do this. Like, I really enjoy it. Like, it's so fun. It's so good for our relationship. And the more that we're physically intimate with each other, the more fun that we're having in our marriage outside of the times we're having sex. Like, I feel like we are connected more. We don't feel like roommates. We feel like we are, having fun. We're laughing more. We're joking more. Like, we want to touch each other more in just like non-sexual ways. Like, our intimacy really is so much stronger when we're being physically intimate. And I've also found that like, it doesn't have to be sex every time. Like, for us, just like making out or just like cuddling or just like spending time together. I was just talking on Instagram about showering together. That is something I do not want to do. I want time to myself in the shower. Like, I want to enjoy that time to myself. And I like the water to be super hot. Thomas likes it to not be very hot. So like, the shower's not our time. But a lot of you guys said that the shower was your time. Like, that is y'all's time to be sweet together, intimate, not even like sexually intimate, just like pillow talk vibes in the shower. So like, maybe you do that. Like, it's not just intercourse that you're spending together. It's just like physically intimate. And it sometimes seems so basic, but sometimes we just like miss the basic things, Like, it's like, yeah, being physically intimate with your partner helps your relationship in so many ways. It's like, duh. But sometimes I need to be reminded of that, duh, you know? So that is basically what I wanted to share today. Just kind of sharing with you where we're at and hoping that you can at least like feel a little bit less alone. Remind you, think about your future self in these moments. Think about your future self and have conversations with your partner, share where you're at with this stuff, because the more we talked about it, the better it got as well, as far as like our communication and our closeness and our intimacy. So I just wanted to share that today. I felt like it was important. I felt like this is kind of like what the Lord wanted me to talk about. So I hope this was helpful. I know I didn't give any like 1, 2, 3 tips, but sometimes you just got to share what's on your heart. And so I hope that was helpful for you today. I am going to link something in the episode notes that does make you want to have sex a little bit more, because it is the $10 vibrator that I have found and loved. Our favorite vibrator that we love so much is no longer on Amazon, but there is a more affordable one on Amazon that is made by the same brand and is just as great. I love it. I actually reach for it more than my other one now, and we use this together. I do want to say, like, when I'm talking about vibrators, like, this is not something I am using for like solo time. Like, anytime we use a vibrator, we use it together when we are being intimate with each other, and we use it on each other. Like, it's something we do together, and it elevates our experience. It doesn't replace each other. It just really elevates the experience. So highly recommend. I'll link in the episode notes. Okay, I love you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and we will talk soon.